Breaking news coming in on that standoff in Delhi University. The HRD minister has summoned the pro-VC of DU to hold talks about the future. The ministry is considering the idea of filing a police complaint against Dinesh Singh, who has resigned today. Sources saying that Dinesh Singh hasn't followed due procedure in implementing the 4-year undergraduate program. The HRD ministry sources telling us that record of Dinesh Singh in managing finances of Delhi University can also be scrutinized despite DU being an autonomous body. Ministry sources also telling CNN the process of selecting a new VC will soon begin. And we will be getting more on this. Remember, the section of teachers and college principals in Delhi University who were in favor of the 4-year program had said the UGC is acting at the minister's behest. Yesterday we heard the HRD minister saying that she is not going to interfere in whatever is going on at the university vis-a-vis the debate over the 3 or the 4-year undergraduate course. But now the ministry sources are telling us that they may file a police complaint against Dinesh Singh, who has resigned today. Bhupendra Chaubey, National Affairs Editor, joining us now. Bhupen, what else are you picking up from your sources?
Well, what we're learning is that the HRD ministry is looking at the entire track record of Dinesh Singh very, very closely. What the HRD ministry is now doing is that since Mr. Singh has resigned, they are trying to go through the files and they're trying to see what was the pressing hurry which was shown by the previous HRD ministry as well as Mr. Singh in terms of implementation of this 4-year undergraduate program. Now, Mr. Singh, according to our sources, the HRD ministry had not amended the rules in order to ensure that there was no illegality which was committed. It's important to point out here that Mr. Singh's appointing authority is the President of India. It's the prerogative of the President of India to appoint the Vice Chancellor of Delhi University. Therefore, any change which is to be initiated, which is to be made, or if any rule has to be amended in Delhi University, it needs to have the approval of the President. Now, what we've picked up from the HRD ministry is that on the government files, there is no proof which shows that Dinesh Singh or the HRD ministry had gone to the extent of taking those files to the President's office for seeking his approval. So how exactly this 4-year undergraduate program then come into existence? Is it that Dinesh Singh decided to push this program through without taking the approval of the President himself? The HRD ministry at the moment believes that that seems to be the case, and they are now thinking in terms of even filing a police complaint against Mr. Singh on the basis of all these revelations which are now coming to light.
And this is turning more and more political, Bhupen. Those supporting Dinesh Singh saying that he is fighting for the autonomy of the university. It is an autonomous body. Can the HRD ministry still go ahead and look at the finances and how they were managed?
Well, the other important information that we're picking up, Palki, is that a decision has also been taken to seek the resignation of the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Delhi University. Now, just a short while back, we were reporting to you that the Pro-Vice Chancellor had been summoned by the HRD ministry. Now, what I'm learning from my sources is that the term of the Pro-Vice Chancellor is actually coterminous with the term of the Vice Chancellor. So what you will look at is that with the departure of Dinesh Singh now as the Vice Chancellor of Delhi University, an entire team which had been brought into place by Dinesh Singh himself will ultimately end up exiting, and it will have to be replaced by a new team. The process of choosing this new team, the process of choosing a new Vice Chancellor will now continue, will now start off, I guess, in the next day or two. But at the moment, the focus is going to be on Dinesh Singh. And rather interestingly, I must also point out that while we were speaking to Congress leaders, we were being told yesterday that the entire onus of this 4-year undergraduate program rests with the new Vice Chancellor and not necessarily with the HRD ministry. Now, questions will be raised in terms of, on one hand, all these questions which are being raised against Dinesh Singh. What about Kapil Sibal? Wasn't Kapil Sibal as HRD minister also to be held responsible? Are we to understand that Dinesh Singh was taking all these decisions completely out of his own free will, without the consent, without the knowledge of the then HRD minister? What about Pallam Raju, Shashi Tharoor, who was the MOS HRD? So question will also have to be answered by the Congress. The Congress has taken this position at the moment, if you were to go by the statements made by Salman Khurshid and Manish Tiwari, that this is nothing else but scant disrespect which is being shown by the BJP to academic institutions. Fact of the matter is that the 4-year undergraduate program, right since its inception, has been extremely contentious, has been extremely controversial. People have questioned it, not just on the basis of its merit, not just on the basis of its utility, but now on the basis of what we're picking up from our sources in HRD ministry, it becomes quite clear that it's almost as if this is a case of perhaps the new Vice Chancellor having exceeded his own brief.
Right. In a sense, this is a proxy Congress versus BJP battle going on in the Delhi University, Bhupen, at a time when today the first list was to have been out for some colleges. So this is admission season. The students are waiting for the uncertainty to go away. Is the HRD ministry also going to give some directives in that direction?
Well, the technical point, if you were to strictly look at it from a technical or a legal point of view, or a policy point of view, the HRD ministry can well say that the autonomy of Delhi University is a completely separate subject, and therefore they have no idea, no intention of impacting that autonomy. But then the HRD ministry is a nodal ministry for education, for higher education in the country. Now, with this kind of a scenario unfolding, the HRD ministry cannot take this position that we have nothing to do with this and it is between the UGC and the Delhi University authorities. Ultimately, the HRD ministry will have to step in. Ultimately, the HRD ministry will now have to come up with a quick fix solution, because you are looking at this resignation of Dinesh Singh right in the middle of admission season in Delhi University. A total of 2.5 lakh students are seeking admission for 55,000 seats in Delhi University. Our Delhi University is now a headless body who will be taking decisions for Delhi University. I think that to that extent, the role of the HRD minister herself and certainly her ministry becomes very, very crucial. They will have to decide who should be the new vice chancellor in a very short span of time. They will have to decide what should be the future course of action. The UGC also cannot now take things lying down, and they can't be taking this position that the autonomy of Delhi University is a subject that they don't wish to be getting involved in, because ultimately the UGC also is responsible for the acts of Delhi University. There are Supreme Court judgments that I can present before you way back in 2013, in 2009, in successive cases. Supreme Court has made it very, very clear that when it comes to the question of managing educational guidelines, educational parameters in Delhi University, it's the University Grants Commission whose word should be treated as the final word.
Right, Bhupen Chaubey, this is taking an interesting turn. Thanks very much for bringing us all the latest on this standoff. It's been on for days.